Hey, admins, how we doing out there? I hope everybody had a good Thanksgiving break, and I enjoyed a few days off myself. So I'm sure you guys enjoyed not having to watch a video from me and hear a bunch of uh, emails and information from me. First thing I do, I want to thank everybody while I was down in Florida at Moose Haven and with the Heart of the Community deadline was really good. So on the 14th, I only had two lodges that hadn't turned their any information in yet, and I had to give them a call. And then by the 15th, it was taken care of. So we had 100% participation in the Heart of the Community being done on time. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. But again, always remember you can put that information in, start putting it in anytime. So we're now in the third quarter. If you want to go ahead and put your endowment in that you've sent in, you know, for this month, or if you've had a project, if some type of information is in there, then you're at least covered if you should forget towards the end of the quarter. I also want to talk about fellowships real quick. Um, I've only gotten a few in so far. Remember, December 9th is the deadline. They have to be postmarked by December 9th. I cannot accept anything else after that because I have to prove to the Moose Legion Committee that the proof of when they were sent in on time. Uh, Also, out of the few that I've gotten already, I know I've put it in past videos and talked about it, and it comes from the information from Moose International as well, or from the Moose Legion. I shouldn't say Moose International. That there needs to be more detail. If we're not filling those forms out correctly, and if we're only checking yes or no, or a one sentence follow up, for example, I'm seeing lots of this. Has the individual helped inside the lodge do some type of event? And it's either yes or yes does all projects. That's not good enough. You've got to put on there volunteers every Tuesday night in the kitchen at bingo, or helps every show me the money night on Thursday nights in the lodge, or helps put on a dance, or helps do an event like this, or even if it's a lodge cleanup and the lodge does a lodge cleanup once a year. Put in the detail, we've had lodge cleanups, annually, and this individual's done it for the last 5 years or what have you. You can't just put yes they're involved or yes they do all projects. That doesn't mean anything. If your lodge has had one project in the last 5 years and they were at that one event, yes, you're not lying. They did have done all projects, but we need more details. They're not going to get passed, and I already know what's going to happen is lodges are going to call me, or administrators, or fellows who have put these applications together. They're going to call and want to know why someone didn't get nominated and why it didn't go through. It's lack of information. Sean Bell has already said that he's not going to allow us to half-heartedly fill these out. I have some lodges that do a great job, and there's an extra page on there, and it always says you can attach extra pages. That's great, and it's detailed information. This person did this for the last several years. They've done this project. They were in charge of a project. They were on this committee and ran the committee. We need to know those things. Also, when you guys are putting on there, I shouldn't say, well, guys, yeah, it's all guys, not just, I almost said females. There wouldn't be any females doing this. When you're getting on the, putting the information on there for the offices they've held, you have to remember that when you go to track through LCL, you can see their Moose Legion offices and their lodge offices, but it's not going to show anything like for the district other than district presidents, because Moose International only tracks what they consider the exec or the association board, which district presidents are on the association board, but a vice president or a treasurer on a district level is not going to be tracked. You guys need to do your due diligence and go out and find that information and add that to it. Just printing off the paper that has their offices that you get in LCL, you may be missing something on there. So again, more details are important. Also, I've only have 3 lodges that have contacted me about whether or not that individual has donated $100 or more to the donor circle, and there are a few out there. I'm going to look at some of them that I'm receiving where maybe that said no, and unless you've contacted Moose Charities yourself, you wouldn't have the slightest idea. And I will do my due diligence and I will look that individual up. But assure me, you'll be getting a phone call from me if they've donated $100 or more, and then the form came back to me saying no because no one checked on that. Yes, there has to be a minimum numbers of yes on that list for them to be considered, but the more that are checked off yes, the better. So we need to make sure we're doing our work on that part. And if you can correct that before you send them in to me, it's going to go further getting them their blue coat. Also, I want to talk about drawings because there were a few questions, and I did get a phone call from the Indiana Gaming Commission. We have lots of lodges that are altering the drawings for holidays and things like that. For a perfect example, with Thanksgiving, lots of lodges may have had Queen of Hearts or Treasure Hunt drawings or their weekly drawings on Thursday night, and then went out and maybe on social media, but nowhere else, and told lodges that they were going to have that drawing on Wednesday night. You guys can't be altering the drawing dates. Now, what I suggest is even some lodges were doing the next day. The problem is that drawing is if the being present at the drawing affects the outcome of the drawing. So if you're there, you get all of it. If you're not, you get half of it. The only way you should really be doing that is rolling it over 1 week to the next day. So if a drawing should be on Thursday night, it needs to be the next Thursday night. I realize sometimes that gives you like a week where you're not going to be collecting money per se, but you're going to get phone calls, and this is what the Gaming Commission got a phone call on, is someone changed it to a Wednesday night instead of Thursday, altering the time of that drawing, and they didn't know about it, and they weren't there. Of course, this person wasn't even, as far as we know, the person wasn't even a winner, but they were mad because they could have been there for the chance to get all of it, but weren't aware of it. So, if you have a daily drawing and the person being there doesn't affect the outcome, they get all of it no matter what. A lot of daily drawings are that way. If you want to do that on the next day, that's perfectly fine. But if it's a weekly drawing, say Thursday night, and you guys try to even have it on Friday the following day, and that individual wasn't aware of it, they could call the Gaming Commission. So we don't want that happening. So those drawings need to happen a week later. Again, if the outcome of them, the outcome doesn't change because they are or aren't there, then it's fine. But don't do it earlier. Always do it later, because even if it was a daily drawing, where if they were there or not there didn't matter, if they have that on Wednesday night, there's a chance they could say, well, they had that at 7 o'clock on Wednesday night, and I come at 8 o'clock on Wednesdays and usually sign the books for Thursday. Again, they can complain. And 9 times out of 10, when we get a complaint from the Gaming Commission, it's from a member reporting something going on in the lodge. So just remember that. It should roll over to the next week. We're not supposed to be altering. Once a game is in progress, you can't alter that. And I understand we think, well, because it's a holiday, we're going to be closed, we have to do something. I would much rather it be later than earlier, but again, it really should roll over to the next week. That way they can't complain that they didn't know when that weekly drawing was, or that treasure hunt or Queen of Hearts board took place. They could be there to get all of it. Lodge visits for me. You're going to be seeing some changes on the way I come and do lodge visits. Right now we have quite a few lodges that are having trouble, whether it be with QuickBooks or filing with government agencies on forms and reports and things like that. And I'm going to be spending more time in those lodges. Now, most of my lodges that don't have trouble, they see me very seldomly anyways, or I stop by and I, check licenses and permits. You're going to see me doing more longer visits, staying with the administrator, a few hours to half a day, maybe even more than a day in those lodges that are having a lot of trouble. So I may still be on the road, but you may not see my face quite as much, at least for the time being. Also, we are now in the second half of the year. During the springtime to summer, we're doing those lodge surveys, those annual lodge surveys. In November through like February or so, I try to get a lot of SQAs done. So we're going to be doing some more social core analyses in certain lodges that really need them because they're hurting for money and they can't figure out why, or they have a lot of volume and it's showing, high liquor costs, and we need to figure that stuff out. So I'm gonna be out doing more of that also. The last thing, we've talked about it before, and we're going to be hitting on it for the entire state very soon, is getting the community credit cards and lodges having credit cards and debit cards. Debit cards are not allowed, and I've explained in the past why we can't have debit cards, so I won't go into that detail now. But we're going to be sending out the community card, credit card application again, and going into lodges and make sure they're doing the credit cards correctly and not having debit cards. After our meeting in Florida at Moose Haven, by next spring, summer, when we start doing those annual lodge surveys again, we will make sure that all lodges don't have debit cards. Any lodges having a debit card, we will be getting rid of those. Again, getting that community credit card is pretty easy. We've had a handful of lodges already that have applied for it. Had a couple that have had some issues, but that was paperwork issues on their part, not doing it correctly. And then I've had some lodges say, not a problem, filled it out, had it 48 hours later. So we'll be going over those instructions, and that'll be a video and email going out to all the lodges in Indiana very soon about that. All right, I went 11 minutes. I do apologize. You guys all have a great week, and have fun with the holidays. Take care.